What you're about to see isn't a policy discussion. It's a political performance. Congressman Lawler isn't trying to get real answers out of Governor Kathy Hochul. He's trying to box her into yes or no soundbites that ignore the complexity of immigration, public safety, state law, and federal responsibility. And when she refuses to play along...
So ordered. Chair recognizes Mr. Lawler from New York.
Governor Hochul, under your watch, New York has spent billions of dollars of taxpayer money providing free housing, clothing, food, education, and health care to illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, you're charging hardworking New Yorkers $2,500 annually just for the privilege of driving to work. Speaking of driving, when you ran for Congress, did you oppose giving driver's licenses to illegals, yes or no?
No, that was previous to that. It was in 2020.
You had a commercial running for Congress touting your position.
No, but the position goes back earlier than
driver's license.
My point.
Did you oppose giving driver's licenses to illegals when you were running for Congress? Yes or no?
At the time I did, and I'll tell you
Governor,
why.
Yes or no?
I had a chance to go out and see a very rural district
Reclaiming my
where
time.
mothers were being denied the chance.
Governor,
to
yes or no? Do you support illegal immigrants getting taxpayer-funded health
to go to their
care?
jobs? And I understood.
Governor, please answer the question.
Governor,
I'm not sure there'll ever be a real question.
you were asked a question and you chose to try to
gave an
deflect.
answer.
The fact is you did support giving illegals oppose giving illegals driver's licenses. Now you support it. Governor, yes or no? Do you support illegal immigrants getting taxpayer-funded health care? Yes or no?
We provide health care to people in need, including moms with new babies.
Do you support giving illegal immigrants taxpayer-funded health care? Yes or no?
We support giving money, support
The
for
answer is
healthcare.
yes. You expanded health care access in 2024
Yes, I did.
under Medicaid.
For senior citizens
Governor, after
and
the
moms with
election,
new
you
babies.
said,
I would do it all
reclaiming
over
my
again.
time, Governor, after the election, you said, someone breaks the law, I'll be the first one to call up ICE and say, get them out of here. Governor, yes or no, have you personally called up ICE and asked them to get anyone out of New York?
As the governor of New York, I have an entire state police force
Have
that
you personally
carries on
called
my
anybody up
directions.
and asked ICE to get anyone out of New York? Yes or no?
My state police acts as my agency and
You
my
have
circuit.
not, correct?
When I say me, I'm referring to my entities such as the state police that
You're
handle
like
that.
Governor Cuomo. I am the government.
That's your
position?
characterization, not mine.
Yes or no? Should ICE have been called on Sebastian Zapata Cali?
Can you refresh me as to the circumstances of the case?
He's the individual who burned the woman alive on the train.
Of course.
Should ICE have been called on him?
NYPD was handling that situation.
Should ICE have been called? That's my question. Yes or no?
If there was an arrest made, he should have been deported after conviction, yes.
Okay. So, Governor, when you were sworn in 2021, you signed an executive order keeping many of Governor Cuomo's executive orders in place, including EO 170. Interestingly enough, you did not include EO 170.1. Are you familiar with EO 170.1?
I don't have it in front of me. I have thousands of executive
I
orders.
have it right here, Governor.
Sure you do.
And what you did, you waited several years until this year, January 16th of this year, in which you finally signed it and reinstated it into law. Why did you wait until just 4 days before Donald Trump was sworn in as president to sign EO 170.1 into law? And to refresh your memory, it basically mandates that federal immigration authorities cannot enforce civil arrests in New York State buildings. Why did you wait several years to reinstate that?
Because we had a high level of confidence that under the previous administration that people going into the courthouses, whether they're victims of crimes, witnesses of crimes, would have their rights protected. I had no
In
assurance
other words,
that would
you
happen.
believe they would not enforce federal immigration law, and you were concerned that President Trump and his administration would enforce federal immigration law?
We thought it was important for victims of crimes and witnesses to murders, for example, that they have access to courts without being threatened or intimidated.
Yeah. Speaking of crime, more than 3,200 illegal immigrants have been arrested in New York City for committing crimes while living in taxpayer-funded housing under your watch, Governor. Governor, are you aware of any law or executive order that would prevent a citizen of New York, a citizen of the United States, from facing criminal or civil enforcement in a state building?
I'm not aware.
So you think that citizens should be treated less than and have less protections than illegal immigrants?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
Our state laws say we cooperate in all criminal cases. I've made that very clear over the last
Yeah, but you're not doing that.
7
That's the
hours.
reality. Governor, do you
The truth is
support,
we
do you
don't
support
help
the
them
New
with
York
civil
for All
enforcement
Act?
because civil
Governor,
enforcement
reclaiming my
isn't-
time. Do you
Go for it.
support the New York for All Act?
I'm not speaking about hypothetical
No,
bills.
Governor, this isn't a hypothetical. There was a sit-in in the state legislature today by activists blocking state senators from coming into the chamber. Do you support the New York for All Act? It's yes or no.
I will tell you this, I get about 1,000 bills put on my
you
desk
support
probably by
the New York
midnight
for All
tonight,
Act?
this is keeping me from doing the work of the people back home. But I can
Governor,
sit here
you've
as
done a
long as you
terrible
want.
job as governor. It's not keeping you from anything. Frankly, New York is better off with you down here and not in the state. The fact
don't think we're better off with you
The
here.
fact is, Governor, you will support the New York for All Act. You will sign it into law if it passes the
I have
state
no confidence it's
legislature.
going to pass.
You have no confidence it will pass.
I don't
If
know.
it does pass, will you sign it?
I'm not able to keep an eye on it. They're voting on
Will you sign it
now.
into law if it passes?
I have about 1,000 bills that get
Will
passed
you
every
sign the
year.
New York for All Act into law if it
You'll
passes?
have to wait
Yes or
and
no?
see, like every other bill.
We have to wait and see?
Yes,
Governor,
because
you
I've-
can't take a position on the New York for All Act. It would put into state statute that New York is a sanctuary state. That's why you're here. That is the exact reason why you're sitting in front of us testifying, because of your disastrous EOs, your disastrous pro-criminal policies that have resulted in the death
Chairman.
of New Yorkers.
Mr.
That is your failure. And the fact is that you can't even answer the question.
No, the
Will
reason
you
I'm
support
sitting here
the
is
New York
because
for All Act?
Republicans are
Gentlemen,
looking
Yes or no?
to
time's
deflect from the
expired.
big, bad, ugly bill that's going to hurt people.
Governor,
in
Governor,
their
you,
district.
gentlemen,
will
time's
you
expired.
support
Governor, you got to
New
answer his
York
question
for
when
All
you
Act?
sign the
I don't know
bill.
what he's asking me.
He asked if you were going to sign the
I
bill.
don't ask anybody in the state of New York. I never say how I'm going to vote on decide on a bill until it lands on my desk.
You are the
Thousands-
governor of the state. You are supposed
I'm well
to lead.
aware.
You
Well aware I'm the
work to be
governor.
a
Gentlemen, time's
sanctuary state.
expired.
It's shameful. It's shameful. You can't even answer the question?
When she won't shrink a complicated issue into something that fits his pre-written talking points, he escalates into a rapid-fire interrogation designed to create the illusion that she's hiding something. But let's actually unpack what's happening here, because the reality is far more nuanced than the spectacle. New York, like many large states, provides essential services such as emergency health care, housing support, and education to anyone in crisis, not because it is a sanctuary free-for-all, but because denying basic care doesn't solve immigration challenges. It worsens human suffering and strains emergency systems. Governor Hochul repeatedly tried to explain that these policies aren't about rewarding undocumented immigrants. They're about preventing emergencies from turning into catastrophes and ensuring that children, mothers, victims, and seniors don't fall through the cracks. Lawler's strategy was to demand yes or no answers to questions that are fundamentally more complicated. Healthcare, for example, isn't a single switch you turn on or off. Federal law requires hospitals to treat anyone who shows up in an emergency, regardless of immigration status. Medicaid extensions for certain populations are about public health stability, not political messaging. You could see in the exchange that every time Hochul tried to provide context, explaining why a policy existed, what it accomplished, or how local law enforcement interacts with federal agencies, Lawler cut her off. That's the key takeaway. This wasn't about solutions. It was about building a narrative that Democrats deliberately prioritize undocumented immigrants over U.S. citizens, a claim that falls apart the moment the details are allowed into the conversation. Even when he brought up crime, Lawler used a single horrific case as a political weapon while ignoring actual crime data. New York's own statistics show no evidence that immigrants, documented or undocumented, commit crimes at higher rates than citizens. In fact, most studies show the opposite. Hochul tried to explain how state police and local agencies work together in criminal cases, but Lawler wasn't looking for governance. He was looking for outrage. The most revealing moment came when he pressed her about a bill she hasn't even received yet, demanding she pre-commit to signing or vetoing hypothetical legislation before it exists in its final form. No responsible governor in the country, Republican or Democrat, makes promises like that. Bills change, language changes. The job of a governor is to review the final text, not commit to speculations for the sake of a partisan clip. Lawler's final swipe, claiming she has failed New Yorkers, is exactly the kind of rhetoric intended to build fear rather than address reality. Immigration is a federal responsibility, and states like New York are left dealing with the humanitarian consequences of Washington's refusal to modernize a broken system. Blaming governors for the failures of Congress is the political shortcut, not the solution. Governor Hochul's refusal to play into the trap wasn't evasion, it was discipline. Her answers reflected the nuance of governing in a state with millions of people, complex needs, and legal obligations. The contrast you're seeing here is the difference between leadership and theaters. If this helped you understand the moment more clearly, and you want more fact-based progressive breakdowns of congressional confrontations, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me which hearing you want decoded next.